Hey everyone, David C. Anderson here coming at you from the Knife Center, and it's our favorite time of the week because new knives hit our shelves every day, and these are the coolest that have just landed. Let's check them out. All right, I've got several exclusives to show you. First thing, actually. The first is from our friends at CJRB. It is the Hectare, which was already a very successful model when it was first introduced, but a decidedly budget model when it was introduced. Around the $50 mark, some plain G10 handles and their RPM 9 steel, which is good stuff, but we thought, what if there was an opportunity for something more? Something quite premium in its performance. That's what we have right here. For 150 bucks, so it is considerably more than the standard model, but there are considerable upgrades as well. The first and most obvious is the handle right here. They are made with Arctic Storm fat carbon, which is very cool, has a lot of different reflections as you move it around in the light. And then the blade, S90V, super steel for sure. Tons of edge retention, and coming in at this price point, even better. Not something you see too often for $150 or less even. So there you go. Just over 3 inches in length, excellent broad drop point shape. Just a great general purpose blade for everyday stuff. Probably wouldn't take this as a hunting knife or an outdoor knife, probably with like the fancier materials, but you could, and the blade would certainly be well suited to it. We got a high flat grind, it's gonna slice pretty nicely. And we've got an ambidextrous lock here in the form of the crossbar lock. Do they call it anything fancy? No, I think they just call it the crossbar lock.
That's nice.
That makes me happy. There it is. It is an ambidextrous lock, and we do have ambidextrous carry capability baked in with the reversible pocket clip, which is deep carry, as you can see right there as well. Action. The bar itself is a little bit stiffer perhaps than like a Benchmade axis lock. Requires just a little bit more of a deliberate force, but it feels nice and smooth. You got that glass-like action that comes from ball bearings in the pivot. Very nice. As far as opening it another way, as opposed to just doing that hold back and wrist flicking open, you can pinch it out with your 2 fingers and finish it with your thumb. Let's try the reverse flick here real quick. It might be a little hard depending on your finger size. I do have pretty large fingers, so let's see if I can get my finger in that spot. Yes, I can. It's a little bit tricky for me. If you have narrower fingertips, it might be a little easier for you. But there you go. Just an excellent everyday carry knife and truly excellent materials, especially when you factor the price point in for a knife like this. Check it out, Knife Center exclusive. Next up, we've got several new versions of the Classic SD from Victorinox, the Classic SD Swiss Army knife in our Leela Ray Artist series. These are commissioned pieces that we have placed on the Classic SD. Let's see, let's name them off here. We've got the bottled ships design right here, which is quite nice. You can check out fuller pictures of all of these on the website. These might not do it justice here in my hand, but I'll show them to you nonetheless. You've got the fairy frogs. You have the winged amphibian right there. 2 of them on the back. Make sure I'm holding it the right way. We've got a 2-wolf flower design. Sorry, it's not a 3-wolf moon, but we don't own the rights to that particular piece of artwork. And then this is my favorite one of this current batch, the Yeti fishing design. So you got your Yeti right here, your abominable bull snowman fishing, and you got underneath frozen fish and the worm. I think these are fun. They're about 24 bucks, and it is, apart from the fancy graphics, it's just a standard classic SD. The SD, of course, stands for screwdriver, which means the nail file has a small Phillips there at the end. You've also got a small pen blade, a pair of scissors on the other side, and your toothpick and tweezers. Everything the modern keychain needs.
I thought it meant standard definition.
As opposed to the classic HD, the classic 4K. It's going to cost a little bit more. Next up, speaking of costing a little bit more, we've got the latest version of our Sebenza exclusives from Reeve. Few tweaks this time around. First off, you can see we've got the Insingo blade as opposed to the drop point. It's still MagnaCut, however, and they're still doing a great job with that. And the handles, we've still got green micarta, but no longer the GL Hansen & Sons G Carta. Went with the standard green in this case to bring the price a little bit further down from where these were originally. But there are a few upgrades of that this particular exclusive has over other standard canvas micarta inlaid versions. The most visible one you can see right there is the dual lug thumb stud right there. Not something you see every day on a Chris Reeve Sebenza. And the other is something that we thought that was very important, was the glass blasted finish on the handles as opposed to their standard bead blast on the other inlaid versions, which is rougher, tackier. It's nice, it's a good working finish. There's something about the glass blast, however, that is just so fine, so nice. It doesn't pick up scratches or snail trails quite as readily as the standard blasted, the sand blasted finish does. It's just so nice. So nice indeed. The green is a nice look. This green, of course, will kind of darken up as UV interacts with the resin and as the oils of your hand also kind of get in there and interact with the fibers of the material. Very nice. Gold anodization on the thumb studs and the hardware here at the back as well. Just really nice. And yes, they can flip or they can flick. People who think Chris Reeves don't have good action, I think that shows you what's up. MagnaCut blade, so nice. You've got a crown spine, a high hollow grind for a very thin edge, right behind that actual sharpened bit. It's just so nice. Price on these, $685, which is not an inexpensive knife, of course, but it is less expensive than the previous iterations of this exclusive. So we do listen to you folks. We do.
As much of it as we can.
We do. I don't even want to put a little flip comment on the end. Like,
it's a video. It's mostly one way.
And is reading listening? If I'm reading comments. Words matter, don't they? Anyway, moving on from that, that's it for the exclusives this week. If you like the kind of metal handle with the green inlay on it, but you don't have that kind of money, this might do the trick for you. A limited edition of the Elementum from CIVIVI. These are coming in at $88, and they're technically not inlays, but they are handle scales over top of a stainless steel liner. This is a jungle wear fat carbon, front and back. You can see back here we've got a titanium pocket clip as well with texture on the outside, almost like an orange peel type of thing, and slightly green anodized to match, or to blend with the handle, I should say. And then S35 VN for the blade steel with a high hollow grind and a very thin, very sharp edge as well. So a good bump up in edge retention from the standard D2 versions, of course. But apart from that, it is, well, apart from that and the pocket clip being upgraded, it is the classic Elementum. Flips nice thanks to the ball bearings in the pivot. You got a 3-inch blade with a useful drop point, something that you can take just about anywhere and use to cut just about any kind of standard thing you would need to cut with a 3-inch blade, and a handle that's going to work with a lot of different hand sizes as well. There you go. Check that out. It does say limited edition. Let's see, do we have a number on this? Let's see. We do have a number on this. It says 2014. It's an oddly specific number to come out in the year 2024, don't you think, Thomas?
Well, I mean, if they made 2015 of that, it'd just be too commonplace.
I don't get it.
Be too many value. I don't know.
Okay. Oh, yeah. 2015 would cross the threshold of being too much of a commodity and not limited enough.
Yeah, that's just a common Pokemon at that point.
I understand. And this one is number 899. So they are serialized. They are limited to 2014 pieces. So there you go. Next up from CIVIVI, we had a bunch of WE and CIVIVI knives launch earlier this week. I don't have every single one of them on the table here, but we do have every single one of them. And next up is this, the Starflare. It is an aluminum handled button lock, thumb stud model, not a flipper, but you got a Wharncliffe blade. 72 bucks and some change for this bad boy right here. And they start with Nitro V steel. You can also get it with Damascus. I actually have one of those over here, with the red blade, and that looks like their, was it the 10CR core Damascus they're using right now, which is pretty cool stuff. Or was it VG10 core? I keep forgetting.
One of them.
It's It's one of those, roughly the same steel in any case. Though that one is a little more expensive as well, about 93 bucks and some change. But I like this one right here. It's gray aluminum for the handles. It has a little bit of a warm hint to the actual grayness, which is pretty nice. Really cool pivot surround feature right here. You can get that on both sides. And what I like is in combination with the kind of milled cutout they gave you in the handle, this kind of domed insert or onsert, whatever you want to call it, lifts up a little bit above the level of that button, so it kind of protects the button a little bit. So if you worry about accidental disengagements, there's some things here to kind of help prevent that, or help mitigate that, I should say. The action is plenty good because you don't have to put your fingers in the path of that closing blade as you operate the, as you close the knife, I should say. We call that a finger safe lock, something the crossbar lock on that Hectare at the beginning shares, of course. And you can do the open the same way, hold the button down, flick your wrist, or you can do the thumb studs right there. A little bit of a tapering handle, so it's not the most confidence inspiring when doing either of those motions, and the aluminum texture is a little bit on the slicker side, so keep that in mind as you operate the knife. I wouldn't say it's a fatal flaw of the knife, but it's just something to keep in mind. Feels good in the hand though. The aluminum has a nice, it's weird for me to think this, but the impression I'm getting is it almost feels warm. Maybe that's just because I've been holding it for a little bit. But it's lightweight and it has a feeling of compliance to it. It feels like it's nestling in quite nicely. It's not fighting my hand. There's no sharp bits poking me, which is quite nice. And then the blade, classic Wharncliffe right there. Completely straight edge, razor sharp tip right there. The Nitro V steel is not going to hold an edge like your MagnaCut or your S90V that we talked about earlier, but it is very tough steel, and man, it takes a fine edge so easily and nicely. Deep carry pocket clip, it is reversible, which is good because it's a very lefty friendly locking mechanism to boot. There you go, that is the Starflare. Next up from WE, which is the more premium brand counterpart to CIVIVI, they're all under the same company. We have the Yardbird, which when I think Yardbird, I think of like Jimmy Page, Jeff Beck, those guys. What's Jeff Beck? Yeah, old blues greats back in the day. Not a high-tech looking thing like this, but I digress. This one is coming in at 318 bucks at change. The starting price on any of these models is about $276 with a G10 inlay on top of the titanium handle structure. But this one has an aluminum foil carbon fiber. There are some fancier versions. I believe there's a Damascus blade option for the Yardbird right now as well. Nope, actually not right now. These are all running your 20 CV in American-made steel. Same stuff as M390, essentially, if you're more familiar with that. 2.44 inches on that blade, and you've got a kind of Wharncliffe. It's a Wharncliffe blade, but it's almost Kiradashi inspired, maybe, almost, without being an actual Kiradashi shape, married to a karambit style handle. So you can do a reverse grip quite easily if that's your thing, but just regular daily use like so, or even choked up into the finger choil area without using the finger ring at all. That's gonna be a really useful, really utilitarian blade shape with a nice horizontal grain finish on this one too. We've got a spine-mounted pocket clip here, so it is fully ambidextrous, left or right, and even though the button lock here is actually, dare I say, left-hand facing, right-handers should have no problem using that either. It's more eager to open than it is to close a little bit. Oh, that's kind of fun. I may not have picked up on this. Let's flip it open. When I flick it closed, this pocket clip rings almost like a tuning fork. Let's see if we can pick it up in the audio. Be quiet. Being quiet at home. Oh. Maybe it's more of a. Oh, it did it on the open too. Hang on. Shh. Everybody shush. Thomas, shush. Okay. I don't know if that's going to come through on the audio or not, but you can feel that ringing in your hand. That's pretty cool. Next up, we have got a zero tolerance to talk about. A special edition of the 450. a Dmitry Sinkovich design. It's coming in at $420. So not as many dollars as its model number you normally would suggest. 3 1/4 inch blade. You've got a Vegas Forge Damascus. I'm pretty sure it's stainless. I'm not sure exactly the composition of this particular steel though, but it is that classic 450 shape. 3 1/4 inches long, narrow enough, drop point, great useful everyday shape, not too thick, but it still has that kind of ZT feeling of being built stronger than it needs to be, if you know what I mean. Titanium frame lock, single-sided pocket clip. Actually, no, sorry, double-sided pocket clip. Wrong. It is a single-sided pocket clip that can be mounted to either side. Pocket clip itself is not double-sided.
Ding.
We've got ball bearings in the pivot as well as a flipper tab. There is the closed profile. You can see it's a very easy knife to integrate into your everyday carry system, whatever that may be. It's not a knife that takes up a ton of space, but then it flips open quite nicely and is built well enough to withstand some rougher use if you need it to. And it just looks freaking cool. I haven't mentioned the handle on the front yet, have I? Multi-marbled carbon fiber is what they're calling it. And of all the fat carbon, camo carbon, all these fancy colored carbon fiber materials that I've seen out there, this is honestly one of the most eye-catching to me. It looks good. You've got oranges and some reddish oranges with some metallic feel to it. This was very cool. Red barrel spacers at the back as well. Check it out. I don't know if these are limited or not either, actually. Doesn't say on our website that they are limited, so I don't know.
We'll confirm.
Thoughts and prayers. Next up, a Reate. Let's keep the crazy overbuilt theme going on, even though that one wasn't crazy overbuilt. But we got a crazy overbuilt knife to take a look at now, the T6000. First of all, look at how thick that blade is. I didn't even bother measuring this blade yet. What do we got? 0.15. That can't be right. 0.157. This is almost like a full 1/4 inch. That's almost a 1/4 inch thick blade. In fact, it just in the spirit of near as much as makes no difference, that's a 1/4 inch blade right there on a folder. And that is because they want this thing to be bomb proof. And that's gonna play into the way the handle works as well. It is titanium. It is chunky, just like that M390 blade, just over 3 inches long. Man, it feels like such a bigger thing because it is so chunky.
I don't know how big a T is, but it's got 6,000 of them.
Here we go. Here's where things get interesting. Interested yet? Here, maybe this will be a little more illustrative of what's going on here. So it is a chunky overbuilt knife with a frame lock. That in and of itself right there would normally be enough. Not for Reate right now. Check out these buttons on either side of the handle right here, okay? Watch what happens inside next to the tang of the blade when I push both of those buttons in. It's basically like 2 secondary locks, or basically 2 stop pins really, not as opposed to a lock. You're not gonna be able to open this blade now, and you're not really, I can't anyway, get my finger in there to push those back out. So it's very hard for this to accidentally come open if you engage those stop pins. The way you disengage them is this little thumb slider here on the spine side of the knife. Push it forward and it flips those out. And then you can flip the blade open like normally. Ball bearings in the pivot, of course, nice snappy action. It's definitely a different type of feel because of the weight of the blade. And the cool thing is those stop pins work in the open position as well. So once that is like so, you can push that frame lock out of the way, but the blade is still not gonna move until you push that tab forward. And it is spring loaded, so it is biased to slide back towards the pommel of the knife. So unlikely to accidentally come disengaged. And even if it does, it's probably because you're gripping it super hard, in which case you're probably gripping the frame lock as well. So might be the safest feeling folding knife on the market. You tell me. $497 for this absolute beast. Check it out. Next up, Andre de Villiers. Stylistically very cool to follow up this Reate with. Here you go. You can see you've got kind of a standard handle size. What does that measure? You know, something. Let me turn the ruler around the correct way. You know, almost 5 inches, and yet we've got a 5-inch blade as well. This is not a fixed blade, however. It is a folder with the tail lock, I believe is what it is called. Yep, the folding tail lock. This knife is called the Crusher. Comes in this version, this particular one anyway, at $755. You've got a big 5-inch S30V blade. Nothing's holding it here in the open position, however, except for a slight detent. You can hear it clicking into place there. What you need to do is fold that tail piece up, click that into place, and then that's not moving. Another very, very safe feeling folding knife, very secure in the hand. It would require a lot of manipulation and poor hand technique to get this, you know, to allow this folding knife to fold closed towards your fingers, because this whole piece would have to move out of the way for that to work, and it clicks positively into place, and if you're gripping the knife, it's also not allowing that to move. And even if it were able to come loose somehow, you've even got a flipper tab to keep it from rotating too far, because that tab will hit your finger first. Check that out. Let's actually measure this here. Yeah, it's like a 5-inch blade and a 5-inch handle. So for those of you that like low blade to handle ratios, it's like 1-to-1 essentially right here. That's just so fun. That doesn't get old. The edge is completely controlled, as you can see right there. Not super aggressive in the hold close, but you again have some detent holding it closed. Means you can flip it like, oh, look at that! I almost figured out a new thing. Let's see if I can do this in one move real quick. No, see, even worse that time. Anyway, pretend I didn't do that. You all didn't see anything. This particular one, we've got a gray Cerakote finish, V-milled titanium handles with rich light inlays, and signature ADV style pocket clip with the Zamboni front end right there. That's what I'm going to call it from now on. The Zamboni front, the Zamboni pinch point. I've had worse ideas.
It's an ice steam roller.
I'm surprised you didn't pick up that that opening I left you when I said I've had worse ideas. Shall we move on? Microtech. The Gen 3 of the Combat Troodon. We've just got some more of these in, and I haven't had a chance, I don't think, to show it on a Thursday video yet. So here we go. The Gen 3, meaning it's got two, well, stylistically you can see it's in line with a lot of their recent new model updates and releases this year, but it's kind of got like two main feature differences that really set it apart from previous generations. One is completely redesigned firing mechanism that somehow contradictorily, in contradiction of itself, does two things. It fires harder than before with more force, and yet it's easier on the thumbs. You have to apply less force to activate more force. It's very interesting. And it's very, very smooth as well. Like I can't tell you enough, and it's something that's not really going to come through visually, how smooth that is. Just very, very nice. And the other thing is the cheekily named Crud Cutter. You've got some serrations in the actual strip underneath the thumb switch right here, and that does two things. One, it actually reduces friction, so that could be part of why there's less force required, because there's less friction. It also gives a place if when this is in your pocket, it picks up some like little bits of dirt or lint or dust or whatever. It gives a place for that to go, and a place for it to go without impeding the action. Also very cool. Other things you'll notice about this big 4 1/8 inch drop point or clip point bladed knife, which is made of M390 MK, I should mention. Torx style construction instead of proprietary driver hardware. Single point here at the back that holds the pocket clip in. The pocket clip is reversible, which is quite nice. So the whole thing is a fully ambidextrous design, and you've got your carbide ball glass breaker there at the back, and ball bearing pinch point there at the front as well. Very, very nice. $450 for these while they last. All right, let's pick up the pace here. We've got some Bestechs to talk about. We've got a new O-Stop Hell design, the Sambac. Very graceful shape on this knife, $280. 3.62-inch blade with MagnaCut blade steel, which I actually didn't talk about MagnaCut too much on the Chris Reeve, but it is stainless, it holds an edge really well, and it is very tough as well. A trio of characteristics you don't often see in a stainless steel, and something you don't really see to this degree on any other stainless steel right now either. Nice upswept trailing point blade with a hint of recurve, high flat grind with a full length swedge. This has just got fast slicing written all over it. And a very graceful handle to back up the graceful blade. This one has a marbled carbon fiber inlay front and back, gold pivot collar, milled titanium pocket clip with an internal screw. Actually, is it internal or is it from the other side? It might be this screw from the other side holding the clip in place. I'm not sure. But that inlay on the back acts as the over travel stop, I believe. Well, actually, they have a built-in over travel stop on the inside as well, along with that hardened steel plate that actually interfaces with the steel of the blade. Nice, almost banana-like profile when folded up. Let's check out the flipping action. Nothing to complain about there whatsoever. Check this out and the other versions. There's some very expensive versions of this as well. Like I said, starts at that $280 mark, but you can get up to $849 if you go with the Damasteel blade version that has Damasteel inlays as well. Polished Damasteel inlays, very cool. There's also a Damasteel version with Timascus inlays. That's only $679. So there you go, for the budget-minded out there. Next up, the Bruv, a more straightforward frame locking design. $230 is the starting point for this. You can get it with a couple of titanium options. They're either dark or gray like this. There's also an Ultim version right now. These come with an M390 sheep's foot style blade right here. Just under that 3-inch mark, $230. I mentioned that already, I'm sorry. Bidirectional grain on the blade finish on this one as well, which is nice and classy. Nice feeling titanium handle, fills the hand pretty nicely for its compact dimensions, which is cool. And then a milled deep carry pocket clip. Not something you see too often these days, although maybe we're starting to see them a little more than we used to. Might be a nice trend to see move forward into the future. Single-sided in this case, it's nice and pocketed into the titanium handles with some sub-flush mounted screws right there to keep things nice and snag free. This is a front flipper, however. Does that mean I'm gonna hate it? Hey, no problems. No problems at all, man. I don't know what anyone was worried about. Shut your mouth. Don't even.
Okay, bro.
Nice frame lock feel to that when it's in the open position. Nice and stable feeling. It's just pretty cool.
There it is.
No problems. First take DCA. No mistakes, ever. One more Bestech, a more affordable Bestech. This is the Ququ, spelled Ququ. Very cool, kind of insectoid-inspired design. Smaller knife, 2.2 inches. Ultim versions now available. $69.90 for this. You can also get it with I believe it's a satin blade finish as opposed to the black finish, and the satin hardware will follow suit with the blade. But yeah, it reminds me very much of like a beetle or like a scarab style of handle. It is compact. It's dare I say cute in a good way. Button lock, and that is your opening action, is press the lock down, flick the blade open, because as you can see, the blade is completely gone when it is closed. You don't see a speck of it at all. So just flick it open and be happy. Now we do have a dagger style grind here, but this is single edged only. And the top edge here, you could put an edge on it, but it'd be a really thick edge. Wouldn't really give you, at least for me, I wouldn't be real satisfied on a small knife like this with a real wedge-like sharpened edge at the top. So there you go. Milled pocket clip keeps things fairly deep. That would look rather interesting there, poking up out of the top of a pocket. Pretend my finger's a pocket right here. There you go. New versions of the Ququ. Another small knife. This one actually launched earlier this week as well. The ACE Riv from GiantMouse. We've got 2 new versions of this that have also continued to bring MagnaCut steel to the table, like the last new versions of this we had in stock. You can get it with a Jade G10 handle and a black stonewashed blade, or a stonewashed blade, I believe, with satin blade with double black canvas micarta. So for those of you that think black micarta tends to look a little grayish sometimes, the double black will increase that blackness just a little bit. 2.4 4-inch blade, modified worn sheep's foot toe blade.
Or
what? Don't what?
TRT.
It's that is not even close to a reverse Tonto, Thomas.
But it did annoy you.
It's a reverse Skinner blade. So you can like,
Reverse muck.
Reverse muck. Now you're just pandering to me. It's a cool utilitarian style of blade for everyday carry, whatever you decide to call it. And the whole game with this is, like the Ququ here, is compactness. You can still get a fairly decent hold on the knife, kind of a 3.5 finger grip for me if I utilize the finger choil up here. I wouldn't want to do super heavy work in this grip for me personally, because there's no protection from the edge coming into the finger choil area, but you do have the ability for that deeper grip if you need it. Let's compare it to the Ququ real quick. Yeah, it's kind of that's really like a 3-finger grip for me. I don't get any of the 4th finger on there. So kind of more like the Riv if I'm holding it behind the flipper tab right there. Wire, pocket clip, not quite deep carry, but it is reversible. We've got ball bearings in the pivot and a nested liner lock. Let's flip the action. It flips good. Let's flick it. Flicks pretty good too, despite my flub right there. Not too thick on the blade, slicey enough, precise enough, yet strong feeling enough. This next knife actually has some of those same attributes or same descriptors, I could say, just a little bit bigger. And something that this brand is even known for more than the GiantMouse, that finger choil choke-up position, Spyderco. New version of the Para 3. This comes with their Spy 27 blade steel, which is proprietary to Spyderco. They worked with Crucible to develop this for them. And what it's supposed to give you is something in the ballpark of like your S35, S45, etc. in terms of edge retention, but easier to sharpen. Again, seemingly contradictory statements right there. So those of you out there that have used it, I know there are some really big fans of this steel. So here you go. You've got a new version with the cobalt blue handles, G10 this time, as opposed to the lightweight that was previously available. You've got your compression lock, which offers finger-safe closing action. This one needs a little bit of breaking in, I will say, as you could probably see there. I bet you it does this real nice, though. Sure does. That's funny, because I'm a big Para 3 fan. I have have had a handful of them. And you can always do that. And this one, just like I said, it just needs a little help, needs a little breaking in. The reverse flick is working great on the knife right now, however. Standard grip, without using the finger choil, is a almost full 4-finger grip for me. My 4th finger does sit here right at the slight beak, but I have less compunction about choking up on this knife less compunction against choking up on this knife than I do on some of the other ones, because you do have some finger protection still, even when using that choil area, even though it's technically not a choil, but we're not going to get into that right now. But you can get a real solid full grip on this knife, yet it's only 3 inches long. That's important for me in this kind of area. It's a knife I like to carry when I head up into Washington, DC sometimes. They have a 3-inch blade length limit. So that's what I do. This is not legal advice, yada, yada, yada. You do what you are going to do.
We're not doctors.
Not a doctor. 4-position pocket clip means you can carry it whichever way you like. And of course, widely compatible with a broad range of aftermarket handle stuff and clip stuff and hardware stuff if you want to get extra fancy and you have your eye on this particular steel. Check it out. $213 and some change right now. Great EDC, great compact tactical knife. Good for many, many things. Let's show some fixed blades. And some video on some fixed blades today. The McNees Ridge Runner. First fixed blade of theirs I have encountered. Here it is. It comes with a blade length, where is it? 3.7 inches long, 3V steel, so nice, tough stuff right there. They can get away with it being a little bit thinner without giving up too much toughness and strength. So you see that here. High flat grind. This is going to be a great outdoor sub 4-inch belt knife or whatever. And I say that because it's hard to categorize something with as versatile a size and shape and grind as this. It'll be a great little hunter, great little camper, hiker, even bushcrafter if you don't necessarily need that Scandi grind. The grip gives you just enough there. If you've got bigger hands, you might want a little bit more of a hand-filling grip if you're going to be doing a lot of like wood carving and intensive bushcraft work like that. But for anything else, it's pretty darn perfect feeling. It is scalloped. It is black G10. We have other different G10 colors available, which you can check out. Love the 3V for the toughness, and the sheath is down here. It is Kydex. As you can see, comes with its own belt loop right here, but that can be removed. You can throw a tech lock or anything else you want on there, pretty much anything else you want on there, because you've got a combination of rivets and slots in the sheath, which means all kinds of stuff will work quite nicely. What else? Made in the USA. Price on these are going to be about $312, and they feel pretty darn good. Next up for a USA made knife, this is actually, oh interesting, this is the Bradford Guardian5.5. It is also 3V and made in the USA, but it's even bigger, and the price on this comes in at just $269, just under that. The spine treatment here is maybe a little bit rougher than what you get on the McNees, and we've got a nice tumbled finish overall on the blade and a really good feeling in the hand. Nice fuller swell on this. This is a G-wood handle. G-wood. Actually, what is G-wood? You'd think I'd have been prepared for this.
Nope.
Is it like Sure Touch, where you've got layers of, no, it's not rubberized, it's like G10. So basically you've got layers of something similar to like Packwood, I'm guessing, and G10 as well. And that's what is going to give you this kind of variegated look, and the shape feels good in my hand at least. Just over 5 inches, 3V steel, a little bit thicker, a little bit more of a beater than the McNees right there. You'll be able to baton some things that are a little bit larger with this, and yet it's still going to be a decent slicer and decent kind of all-around belt knife for the same kind of tasks. If you want something just a little bit bigger though, this is an option. Comes with a very simple but very elegant looking leather sheath. Nice shape to the end of it, and nestles in there quite nicely indeed. Did that nestle all the way in? No. Yes, it did. Yeah. Last but not least, we've got a hunting knife set, actually, from Buck, and it is in their Paklite series, which you could get any of these knives separately already, but you can now get in a piggybacked style rig right here, 2 of the knives. And these can be separated. I know, because they did it before.
So it's a 2-pack light.
Okay, yeah, you actually have to undo the fasteners here, but you can separate this into 2 individual sheaths if you want. But you get 2 knives, as mentioned. The caper-sized blade, which is, they have an actual name for this. What is it? You've got the field, which is the larger blade here. That is a roughly 4-inch blade, and then you've got the hide, which is more of a caper and small game style knife, 2.75-inch blade. High hollow grind on both of these. These are the 420HC select versions. They come with an injection molded handle, either orange or black. You can also get it with S35 VN steel if you prefer, and those come with a micarta handle instead. But they're going to both come with this nice handy piggyback sheath rig right here. What I like about it is how compact it is. Sometimes piggyback rigs can get really bulky. This is not super bulky. Obviously it's more bulky than just a single knife on its own, but that's very tidy, and I really, really appreciate that. Good stuff. That's all we've got for today, however. No, I didn't say the price, did I?
He's about to.
$75 for the select versions, $175 for the S35 VN Pro versions, and that's the Paklite Field Kit. check them out. And now that is all we have for today. Thanks for sticking around as always. Let me know what you thought of these knives down in the comments. And if you want to get your hands on them, guess what? Links are in the description and those will take you to KnifeCenter.com. While you're over there, don't forget about our long-running knife rewards program, because the least thing we can do when you pick up one of our knives today is give you some free money to spend on your next one. I'm David C. Anderson from the Knife Center, and that's Thomas behind the camera. We are signing off, so we'll see you next time.